everybody, what's up? Just a reminder that today's video is educational. It's not meant as a showcase of skill of any kind. It's meant to be fun and informative, and also, obviously, I'm entitled to state my opinions on things, especially when it comes to weapons and tunings and all that fun stuff. So just keep that in mind as you watch, and hopefully you enjoy the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be my top loadouts for Warzone as of right now. I'm going to do there's going to be a top 6, and I know it's a weird thing, but I'll explain it in a second. Um, but then I have some honorable mentions, and the honorable mentions I'm not going to do like show you the tunings. I'll show you the loadout real quick, and you can pause the video, take a screenshot, and if you really want to know the tunings, you can just request it in the comments, and I'll do tunings for those loadouts, and I'll mess around with them and put a video out for them eventually. But um, for as far as um, like I said, for the honorable mentions, I'll show you the build for the guns, but not the tuning, just to keep the videos a little bit more short. First honorable mention is not going to be like a loadout thing. It's just going to let you guys know that literally any of these are very viable right now. I know that they're big, clunky, and slow, but their time to kill is really fast, and most of these have minimal recoil, especially the Socken doesn't have a lot of recoil, the Icarus doesn't have a lot of recoil. Um, Believe it or not, even with the nerfs, the RAL does not have a lot of recoil. The RPK has like a little like initial recoil jump, but after that, it's a straight laser beam. The RAP H has very controllable recoil, especially when built properly. Same thing with the HCR. And so these guns are just all very viable and very good, especially if you're playing a support role, where you can lay suppressive fire and you can laser people at 40, 50, 60, 70 meters with no problem with most of these guns. So just figured I'd throw that out there. So now let's get into our first honorable mention. It's going to be um, a sniping loadout. So actually, this one I will give you, real quick. So we play high velocity, sock and tread 40 for control, tuned for aim down sight and gun kick control, and the high velocity is actually tuned. It's not tuned. It's supposed to be tuned for recoil control. But there you go. And then the BR-209 barrel for movement speed and aim down sight speed, which this one also wasn't tuned, which kind of pisses me off. So we want this gun to be very snappy. Then the FSS OV laser, tuned for sprint to fire and aim down sight speed. And then the Atrazat stock, tuned for aim down sight speed and it's supposed to be aim walking speed. I haven't changed this stuff in a little bit, but that's that. And then the one-shot intervention. So we got the Skull 40 grip, tuned for aim down sight and aiming idle stability. We got the VLK laser, tuned for sprint to fire and aiming idle stability. Then we have the Fahrenheit 29, tuned for recoil steadiness and damage range. The Nilsa 90, tuned for aim down sight speed and bullet velocity. And then the explosive round, where we max out the damage range and the bullet velocity. And then our second honorable mention, which I'll just show you the things real quick. The STV got a lot of buffs. As of right now, it's in the honorable mention category because I haven't really tested it and played with it much. But I know that the buffs made it significantly better. I see it being used more, like especially as a sniper support with that mid range. But this build. This is built for long range. This build practically has no recoil in it. You could theoretically rock this, and it gives you better bullet velocity and damage range. Which, if you did that, you'd want to instead run like the where is it here? There it is. The stock and tread 40 um, as your compensator, because it does have it has vertical recoil. So lock grip precision to once again enhance the recoil control, and then the Tempest Torrent is still disgusting. They nerfed it a little bit, but it still kills incredibly fast. And this is a high skill weapon because it's semi-auto, so you definitely need to be able to hit your shots, and you want to make sure you're hitting, upper torso, neck, and head if you can. And then you get a really fast TTK. It has excellent bullet velocity as well. And this is the build that we would use for that. So now we'll get into our number 5. So this is the thing. It's even though it says number 6, this is our other number 5. So it's gonna be the TAC 56, and this one's tuned like so. Aim down sight, farthest eye position. 40 round mag. If you really feel like you needed the 60 bullets, you can go ahead and do that. The 5.56 high velocity ammo, which we tuned for recoil control. And then the F-Tac Ripper, which we tune for recoil stabilization and aiming idle stability. And then the Harbinger D20, which we tune for recoil smoothness and aiming idle stability. And then the MX9 is very, very good with all the buffs. This is the only thing holding it back is the 32 round mag. If you're playing tight with your squad, it shouldn't be that much of an issue. Has basically no recoil, excellent movement speed, excellent aim down sight speed, all that fun stuff. So I get the Bruin Q900 grip tuned for recoil steadiness and sprint to fire speed. The F-Tac Riser tuned for recoil stabilization and aim down sight speed. And then we have the VLK laser tuned for sprint to fire and ADS speed. And then we have the Bruin S901 barrel, which gives us damage range, hip fire accuracy, not as important, but still pretty important, movement speed, and bullet velocity, giving us, and we tune it for recoil steadiness and for damage range. This gun is actually really, really good, and it's a good spot right now, so definitely give it a try, especially in solos. So it's a neck and neck thing, but my opinion, the Lockman 556 just beats out um, the TAC 56, and the only reason it does is because it's just as easy to control, and it has almost identical stats to um, the TAC 56, but it kills faster at every range. So that's what made it beat it out, and this is just slightly better. They're both really good choices, but this is just slightly better. So we got the 40 round mag. You could opt for the I think it's a 60 round mag. Yeah, just to slow you down a little bit. Lock grip precision, which wasn't tuned again. I'm sorry, guys. I'm failing you. But we tune it for hip recoil and aim down sight speed. Harbinger D20, we tune for recoil steadiness and aiming idle stability. That's going to help us land our shots at range. And then the Lockman Rat Barrel, which we tune for recoil steadiness and damage range. And then you tune this one for flinch resistance in the farthest eye position for your favorite optic. And then the Hurricane. This is a gun that is extremely overlooked. This is a very snappy build. It has a sub 200 millisecond aim down sight speed, and the tactical sprint aim down sight speed is also very quick. Movement speed very quick. And this thing's strafe speed is outrageous. You're practically sprinting while you're aim down sight, which is absolutely nuts. So we use the Phantom Grip, which gives us a huge boost to our sprint to fire and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control and flinch resistance. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like here in a second. It's not as bad as you think, but we tune that for recoil steadiness and sprint to fire speed. And then we have the Demo Quicksilver Stock, which we tune for aim walking speed and aim down sight speed. Then we have the FSS OLV Laser, which we tune for aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. And we have the FSS Shark Fin, which we tune for aim down sight speed and aim walking speed. The Shark Fin is great because it essentially gives us aiming idle stability, which is good for the mid range, but it also gives us free stats here. So we can either get free mobility out of the aim walking speed and the aim down sight speed, and we can get a little bit of extra free recoil control if we absolutely need it. This is my recommendation right here, though. And then the overpressure we tune for recoil smoothness and bullet velocity, making this a very balanced attachment. So this is what I was talking about. So I'm going to shoot a couple of targets real quick. And of course, I'm going to shoot circles as I'm telling you it doesn't do that. Don't mind me. There you go. You see how snappy that is? Now watch this. You're practically sprinting as you're walking. Which is absolutely crazy. I'm going to use this more too. The other version of this, it drops the overpressure rounds and adds the where is it? It adds this barrel, the cannonade barrel, which doesn't hurt your movement speed at all. And you can also tune this for here. I'll show you guys. I don't mind making the video just a little bit longer, just so you guys can see the craziness that this thing is. Alright, so this gives us bullet velocity and damage. Now look at this. You're moving even faster. Like, look at this. Tell me that's not crazy movement speed, huh? But anyway, also this is all the same. So smoke grenades and jolt charge what I use. Um, if I'm not using an LMG, it's resupply. If I'm using an LMG or an SM or an AR that has a large magazine, like a 60 round mag or something like that, then I'll use fast hands instead. Or if I'm using a sniper, I'll use fast hands. All right, number 4, the ISO Hemlock is still absolutely disgusting, especially this particular build. Still 0 recoil since they didn't adjust that. The damage values are the same, it's just the damage ranges are slightly nerfed. But that's why we're building it this way. We give it the the Fielder T50 barrel, which gives us um, damage range and recoil steadiness, making this thing an absolute laser beam. And then we have the Harbinger D20. I don't know why I keep saying it's Pro Tune. It's not. Which we tune for recoil smoothness and aiming idle stability. Right there. And then we have the F-Tac Ripper, which we tune for recoil stabilization and aiming idle stability, 45 round mag, whatever optic you're comfortable, tune for flinch resistance, and the farthest eye position. Next we have the P90. A lot of people are putting this at the top of the list because it didn't see a nerf, but it still doesn't have the fastest time to kill. But it does have a lot of mobility, which is what we built this for. So we have the Bruin Q900 grip, which we tune for recoil steadiness and sprint to fire speed. The TV tack home, which we tune for recoil stabilization and aim down sight speed. The CQB stock, which we tune for aim walking speed and aim down sight speed. The VLK laser, which we tune for sprint to fire and aim down sight speed. And then the Lockshot KT85, which we tuned for recoil stabilization and aim down sight speed. This gun is phenomenal, has fast as hell ADS speed, lots of really good movement. It's just a very good gun overall. Number 3, this is a lot of people's go-to long-range weapon right now. The reason I'm at number 3 with it is because I personally think that it has more recoil than number 2 and number 1, but it does kill significantly faster than number 2. And it just does a lot of damage, especially like this build can be used either semi-auto, which just absolutely demolishes people, or in full auto, which also absolutely demolishes people. 50 round mag is a must. It does have that fast fire rate in fully auto. However, if you choose to just use this in semi-auto, you can drop it down to the 30 round mag for sure. So locker precision, we tune recoil hip control and aim down sight speed. The SA leveler 55 because this has quite a decent chunk of horizontal recoil control, especially as you get further into your magazine. We tune that for recoil stabilization and gun kick control. And then the HR 6.8 barrel, we tune for recoil steadiness and damage range. And then whatever optic you're comfortable with, you tune that for aim down sight speed at the farthest position or flinch resistance, which is probably what's best for this one. So we'll do that. And then we have the PP19, the Vaznev 9K, still probably in my opinion the best SMG in the game. It is at number 2, and that is solely based on TTK. But we got the True Tack grip, which we tune for aim down sight and sprint to fire. This gun has basically no recoil. So Ultrazat stock, which we tune for aim down sight and aim walking speed. And then we have the Olvirit laser again, which we tune for sprint to fire and aim down sight speed. Then we have the SA response. This one gives us bullet velocity, recoil control, and damage range, all very important because the damage drop off on the Vaznev is pretty significant after about 9 meters or so, 10 meters. So any kind of extension that we can get on that is best. So I don't know why I have that tuned there. We want it tuned right there. Okay. So we tune that for recoil steadiness and damage range. And then once again, the FSS shark fin underbarrel, tuned for aim walking speed and aim down sight speed. Goodness gracious, I'm way behind today. If you want the extended mag, I don't personally like it. I think it shoots slow enough and you're at close enough range and it kills fast enough that 30 is fine, but you can drop the shark fin for the 45 round mag. Number 2, the Kastov 762 still hits like a truck, and I absolutely love this thing. So we tune this for the furthest eye position and aim down sight speed. And then we don't use the extended mag in this. This thing, the bullets do so much damage, and its fire rate is so slow that I honestly believe even in quads and trios that you don't need the 40 round mag. However, if you feel that you need the 40 round mag, um, I have a separate build for you, and I'll show it real quick without tuning it. But high velocity round tuned for recoil control. Then we have the locker precision tuned for ADS speed and hip recoil control. Sock and Tread 40 tuned all out for recoil control with the stabilization and the gun kick control. Then we have the CAS 10 584mm barrel, which we tune for recoil and damage range. Now, if you are looking to play with this with the extended mag, you drop the high velocity, you change this to the IG barrel, and then you change this. This is going to look ugly as sin, and I apologize for that, but you change this to the ZLR Talon. Actually, no, the Gauge 9 Mono, which in this case, it's a different. I don't think I have the thing unlocked. Oh, I have them all unlocked. I want to say. No, it's the Talon. And then you just tune for the recoil and the bullet and the aiming idle. And this one you tune recoil and damage range. But yeah, so that's how you would um, build this. Oh, and with the 40 round mag, obviously, but it says small map because this was my build for Ashika Island. So, but this is my number two because it hits like a Mack truck, like it just does the thing. And then the MP5, fastest killing SMG in the game. This is my version of it. Again, it's the same thing as the Vaznev. It does shoot at like 800 rounds per minute, so you might have to drop the X10 or the FSS Shark Fin for the 40 round. But I trust the gun as it is. Speaking of, we're going all out on the aggression here, so. So like I said before, this is like a free attachment. So we do aim down sight speed and aim walking speed. Then we do the mirror recoil stock, and because it gives us sprint speed and recoil control, which is nice. So we tune that for aiming idle stability for that. No, we don't. God darn. Aiming walking speed. This is something that is really important to do. And then aim down sight speed, VLK laser, you just saw aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, the Falcon barrel, which we tuned for. This one we don't tune towards the walking speed. We tune for recoil steadiness and damage range. And then the X10R, we tune towards aim down sight, and we tune towards bullet velocity. And this thing is an absolute beam, and it shoots missiles at close range, so definitely really up there. And this should be the number one, and this is just me being biased, but my number one is going to be the MP7. My favorite gun in every game that this gun is featured in, the Vel 46 or the MP7, is my favorite weapon. And we got this tuned. We got the Schlager Soldier Grip for ADS and sprint to fire speed, and we tuned to enhance those. And the Demo RXT stock, which gives us sprint speed and ADS speed, and we tune for a walking speed. Remember, guys, this is an old build. I forgot to update it, but we tune for ADS speed and aim walking speed. And we have the VLK laser, which we tune for sprint to fire and aim down sight speed. Lockshot KT85 for aim down sight and gun kick control. And then the Shark Fin we tune for aim walking speed and aim down sight speed. And this thing shoots. It doesn't quite kill as fast as the MP5, but I just love this gun so much more. And then the absolute number one gun in the game right now, I truly believe, is the RAL. It has a sub 500 second TTK at close range. And even when you start hitting those damage drop offs, it's very subtle. They're not like huge damage drop offs. And then with this build, it has basically no recoil. It does have a little bit. It's not, I'm not going to lie and say, oh, this is a zero recoil build. It's not. It does have some recoil, but it's very, very manageable. So we get the high velocity rounds for the added bullet velocity to hit them shots at range. Recoil steadiness and recoil smoothness as the tunes. The SA side grip slows it down significantly, but you're going to be more stable and hitting your shots a lot better with this. So we tune for recoil stabilization and aiming idle stability. Then the Shred CP90, which we're going to tune for recoil stabilization and gun kick control. And then the EXF Rhino barrel, which we're going to tune for recoil steadiness, and we're actually going to tune this for damage range here. Number one TTK in the game at all ranges. still easy to control. The nerfs didn't do much. This gun, the only reason I'm going to say that this gun is balanced is because it is extremely slow in every facet of the word. It's just slow. Aim down sight, sprint to fire, movement speed, all of it just slow. But the time to kill is incredible. I mean, and it should be. This thing shoots 338 Magnum rounds. Like, those are going to hurt. It's shooting sniper rounds, guys. Fully automatic. Come on. That's going to hurt. But anyway, guys, that'll do it for today's top loadouts. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. If you guys do want the loadouts for the honorable mentions and then some of the other LMGs, just give me a shout. I plan on doing a video about the HCR here soon because this is one of my favorite guns. And then I have a really fun video for the Icarus planned, but other than that, that'll do it for today's video, and I appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure you leave a like and comment anything you like what I'm doing, or if you have any suggestions, questions, concerns, whatever. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, so that way you get notified every time I post a new video, or if I go live on YouTube, which doesn't happen very often, but you do get the notification. But anyway, that'll do it for today, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.